A new video of MAGA Mike Johnson, one of Donald Trump's top allies, has emerged, and MAGA Mike Johnson's on a hot mic saying that he and Donald Trump will repeal the Affordable Care Act. They will make sure that your health care is taken away. And the way MAGA Mike Johnson describes it on this video I'm about to show you, he says that they're going to take a blowtorch to it, and they're going to also take away lots of other government services as well. Here, watch this.
There's a lot of talk. I mean, healthcare reform is going to be a big part of the agenda. When I say we're going to have a very aggressive first 100 days agenda, we got a lot of things still on the table. But healthcare, that's part. It's the secret. Yeah. It's the secret. Healthcare reform is not a secret. There's some really important ideas on the table, and we have a docs caucus, the physicians who serve in the House, and they've got a menu of options about this thick. And I think this is part of it, because if you take government bureaucrats out of the healthcare equation and you have doctor-patient relationship, it's better for everybody, more efficient, more effective. That's the free market. Trump's going to be for the free market. You heard a little sample of that last night. We want to take a blowtorch to the regulatory state. Okay, I mean, these agencies have been weaponized against the people, and it's crushing the free market. It's like a boot on the neck of job creators and entrepreneurs and risk takers. And so healthcare is one of the sectors, but we need this across the board. And Trump's going to go big. I mean, he's only going to have one more term, right? Can't run for re-election, and so he's going to be thinking about legacy, and we're going to fix all these things. And,
no Obamacare.
No Obamacare. Yeah, the ACA is so deeply ingrained. We need massive reform to make this work, and we got a lot of ideas on how to do that.
Now, that hot mic situation by MAGA Mike Johnson also follows Donald Trump's other top surrogate, who Trump says will be one of the people he'll have cutting services in the government, Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk is on audio recording saying that Donald Trump's agenda will cause hardship for most Americans, but that the hardship that you will face is going to be necessary for the MAGA agenda to be implemented. You could hear Elon Musk in his own words on this hot mic as well. Let's play it.
We have to reduce spending to live within our means. That necessarily involves some temporary hardship, but it will ensure long-term prosperity.
And as Evan Sutton says, temporary hardship means people losing their jobs, you and your family losing their jobs, homes, losing retirement accounts. Elon Musk won't see any hardship, but for you or me, that's our lives falling apart. Yet political reporters seem to think, I don't know what the biggest news article is today, but this is important. Elon Musk sees Trump's economic plans causing temporary hardship, and you heard Elon Musk itself. Good. Again, I just want to talk about this because before the Affordable Care Act, people could be discriminated against for having pre-existing conditions and they would die. The Affordable Care Act, I mean, sure, you may be on the Affordable Care Act. I mean, 30, 40 million Americans have health care because of it, and they would have otherwise been dead. And you heard Donald Trump at the debate talk about concepts of a plan. He doesn't have a plan. So the first thing they're going to do is rip away your health care. And then they're going to rip away retirement accounts, jobs, and other things to implement their MAGA agenda. By the way, folks, this is coming on the same day where there's been some more great economic news in the United States. As Heather Long reports, the American economy right now is the envy of the world. That doesn't mean it's perfect. We should make it better. It doesn't mean that there aren't issues still, but it is the envy of the world. The U.S. economy is having a remarkable year. 2.8% GDP growth in quarter three. That's in line with the expectations and well above the usual norm of 2% growth. Strong consumer spending and government spending continue to boost the growth. Here we see, and Carl Quintanilla reposts this, take a deep breath. Real economic growth per capita has exceeded even the pre-pandemic expectations. The pre-pandemic expectations. So even without the pandemic happening, we're now under Biden-Harris doing better real economic growth per capita than what was expected before people knew the pandemic was going to hit. Perhaps they should have known it was going to hit, but Donald Trump was maliciously negligent and reckless in everything he did and wanted in everything he did. Also, GDP wasn't the only rosy data that we got on Wednesday morning. There's also been a surprise surge in private sector job growth as well. Also, the latest GDP report shows the American economy kept expanding with ongoing strength that keeps defying all the naysayers. Simply put, there's no slowing down. Stock market's at an all-time high as well. The U.S. economy seems to have pulled off a remarkable and historic achievement. America's economy is at the historic point ahead of the presidential election. However, what companies are preparing for is, in the event, though, that Donald Trump wins, and I don't think that's going to happen, but in the event he wins, companies have to get ready for big price hikes to offset Trump's global tariff plans, because executives say it's not difficult to figure this one out because Donald Trump doesn't know what tariffs are. Americans, not foreign countries, will pay the tariffs. Companies that rely on foreign suppliers are preparing to raise their prices in response to a massive import tariff that Donald Trump promises if he wins the election on Tuesday. Also, one of the things that we're learning from lots of independent sources as well is that you will lose your Social Security if Donald Trump is elected. It's not hyperbole. I'll show you that Fox even is saying it based on the independent analysts out there. But there will be rapid Social Security trust fund depletion, larger benefit cuts when the depletion happens, much larger overall budget deficit. But Social Security, say goodbye to it. About 6 years, 7 years max under Donald Trump's plan, and then you won't get it. So if you're on it and you rely on it to live, just say goodbye to your Social Security if Donald Trump wins. If you're on the fence or an undecided voter, I'll show you what Fox has to say. So you don't have to say, oh, well, the Ben Meiselas, he just gives me all this data. Let me show you what Fox has said about this. Here, play this clip.
One policy contrast getting the spotlight tonight is how each candidate's plans would impact Social Security, which is set to be insolvent in 9 years without any changes. The Nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget says Trump's plans would accelerate that timeline to 6 years.
And then let me show you here a montage of Donald Trump calling to cut Social Security and Medicare over and over again. Let's play it.
One last question.
Go ahead.
Entitlements ever be on your plate?
At some point they will be. We have tremendous growth. We're going to have tremendous growth. This next year, it'll be toward the end of the year. The growth is going to be incredible. And at the right time, we will take a look at that. You know, that's actually the easiest of all things, if you look, because it's such a big percentage.
If you're willing to do some of
If you don't cut something in entitlements, you'll never really deal with the debt.
We'll be cutting, but we're also going to have growth like you've never had before.
You changed your outlook on how to handle entitlements, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, Mr. President. It seems like something has to be done, or else we're going to be stuck at 120% of debt to GDP forever.
So first of all, there is a lot you can do in terms of entitlements, in terms of cutting. And
and by the way, I hear some people go, but one of the things Donald Trump says is that there's going to be no tax on tips. That's a great plan. No tax on tips. Have you not realized by now that Donald Trump's a con artist? For real, seriously. Have you not realized that he'll lie to say whatever he needs to get votes, and he's just trying to get voters in Nevada and other service worker people to vote for him? Can we just discuss what Donald Trump did while he was in office? Because, folks, as I always say, the facts and the evidence matters, right? So when Trump was in office, his policy regarding tips was to take away people's tips and give it to their bosses. Donald Trump's labor secretary said tips don't belong to workers. The tips are owned by the bosses. And so the bosses get the tips. So if Donald Trump's talking about no tax on tips, it is a tax avoidance scheme for rich people, for bosses. And you don't have to trust me. I mean, just go back and look at what happened when Donald Trump was in office. Google, what was Donald Trump's policy on tips? Do your own research. What was Donald Trump's policy on tips in 2016, 2017, 2018? As the AFL-CIO had to put out an urgent memo, Trump administration needs to rescind the proposal that allows bosses to pocket working people's tips. As we previously reported, Donald Trump's labor secretary, Alexander Acosta, announced a new proposed regulation that would allow restaurant owners to pocket the tips of millions of tipped workers. This would result in an estimated $5.8 billion in lost wages for workers each year. You're being played by them. You're being played by them. This is what he does. He's screwed over workers his whole life. Atlantic City, New York City, he screws over workers. He comes up with these schemes and cons them and promises them the world and F's them over. That's just what he does. And this was from Vox in that period too, March 22nd. The omnibus bill that the Democrats had to then add an amendment blocked a Trump rule that would allow bosses to keep workers' tips. So Democrats had to step in and block what Donald Trump was doing. You see, though, folks, Donald Trump and MAGA Mike Johnson and Elon Musk, they're coming up with all of these secret plans as part of their billionaire boys club to screw us. Donald Trump at his Madison Square Garden event says, "We got a secret plan, MAGA Mike. No super secret plan." Here, play this clip.
And I think with our little secret, we're going to do really well with the House, right? Our little secret is having a big impact. He and I have a secret. We'll tell you what it is when the race is over.
Now, I've done a video about their plan before, so you know what it is now. Go back, watch my video from Tuesday. It's got 1.3, 1.4 million views or so. Let's get it more views of what the contingent election plan is, where if the Republicans keep control of the House, MAGA Mike's going to refuse to certify the election so that it doesn't even get to the point where the vice president's the one who does the ministerial act of issuing the certification. MAGA Mike's going to say, "Oh, there's all this fraud. Look at all these lawsuits. We're going to have the Supreme Court decide and make it a contingent election." And they're going to threaten that. That's what MAGA Mike's going to do. Then under a contingent election theory, each state gets a vote. Read the 12th Amendment. I did a whole thing about this. But you heard Donald Trump say it at the speech. He said it at the Madison Square Garden speech. You heard it in his own words. Okay. I want to do this for a second. Let's do this exercise together, if you will. Let's make this interactive. Here's what someone wrote to me. And a video I did before. Because some of the things that I've been saying right now is ask yourself where your 401k is today versus where your 401k was when Donald Trump was in office. I often say too, ask yourself where your 401k today, where your toilet paper was when Donald Trump was in office because of how he mishandled COVID. But here's what Laura writes. My 401k is up 27.3% in the past year alone. Thank you, Biden-Harris administration. Incidentally, my funds lost over $200,000 under Donald Trump. Okay, that would seem to be consistent with where the market was under Trump and where it is now. So do me this favor. In the comments below, share your story like Laura's story, if you have one. And if you think it went the opposite way, that's fine. Tell me that too. But let me know if, like Laura says, your 401k went up or down, and compare it. You don't have to give me confidential data or just give me the broad numbers if you can. And then I will do a whole video where I read those and let's compare how people feel that they're doing, not what the media is trying to say, not the narratives that they're trying to push, but is your 401k up versus when Trump was in office? Let me leave you with some of this stuff though too about MAGA Mike Johnson and who he is and what he's all about. So just to remind you, this was MAGA Mike Johnson both attacking Roe v. Wade and insisting that if only women were compelled to bring more able-bodied workers to the world, then Republicans would not have to slash and take away your Social Security and Medicare. Here, play this clip.
Roe v. Wade gave constitutional cover to the elective killing of unborn children in America, period. You think about the implications of that on the economy. We're all struggling here to cover the bases of Social Security and
Medicare and Medicaid and all the rest. If we had all those able-bodied workers in the economy, we wouldn't be going upside down and toppling over like this. Listen,
the gentleman,
I will not yield. I will not. Roe was a terrible corruption of America's constitutional jurisprudence.
And here's MAGA Mike Johnson from his early days in leadership, saying that we don't live in a democracy, we live in a biblical republic, he says. Let's play it.
You know, we don't live in a democracy, because a democracy is two wolves and a lamb deciding what's for dinner, okay? It's not just majority rule, it's a constitutional republic. And the founders set that up because they followed the biblical admonition on what a civil society is supposed to look like.
And finally, let me leave you with this video too. Here's Donald Trump bragging about killing a bipartisan border deal. Let's play it.
But you give illegal taxpayer-funded lawyers, so they have millions of dollars in this agreement, in this deal, which we, by the way, killed. I think we killed it. I think it's dead. But you can never say it, because bad bills always come back to life, because these guys make a lot of money with bad bills. But they give millions, tens of millions of dollars, it's down there, to lawyers to represent the illegal immigrants that come into our country. It's not even believable.
Now, why am I showing you Donald Trump bragging about killing the bipartisan border deal, whose lead negotiator was a conservative Republican from Oklahoma, James Langford? Because Donald Trump and these MACAs I just want you to see what they're doing. It's an authoritarian playbook. What authoritarians know is that if you can keep people uneducated and suffering, you can kind of manipulate them. People will accept breadcrumbs, and the image of Donald Trump throwing the paper towels at people or whatever. But that's how that's how authoritarians see things. So Donald Trump and MAGA, you may go, well, how is that a good electoral issue for them, taking away Affordable Care Act and Social Security? Well, they'll strip you of your freedoms. They'll strip you of your rights. They'll strip you of the things that you should have to live. Once you're suffering, then they'll come in and say, well, I alone can help you. You have to, I alone can help you. They're the ones making your life worse. And you see that happening in a lot of red states. So I want to arm you with all this data. I don't want them to gut your I don't want Trump taking away your Social Security. He will. I don't want them taking away your health care. They will. They're going to take away your health care and your Social Security. And they're going to cause catastrophe with the economy, because just listen to what they're saying. Listen to what they're doing. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers together. Make sure you vote. Tell others to vote, okay? Thanks.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.